Hi everyone, Carol Stewart here with Abounding Solutions, the coach for high achieving introverted women, executive, career and business coach. Today I'm going to share with you 3 tips on how to not let perfectionism ruin your leadership career. Now I find that many senior introverted women are also perfectionists, and being a perfectionist can be very stressful. You put a lot of pressure on yourself to have your work, have your efforts meet a perfectionist standard, and that is very stressful. And when you're stressed, it can take its toll in so many ways. So tip number 1, raise your tolerance level. I had a client, a senior woman, perfectionist, who would spend hours doing a particular task or delivering on a particular project, often working late, working more hours than was really necessary or was really quite healthy actually. And one of the things that I helped her to see was that her good was good enough. And she did this by setting herself time frames in which to do her work by time boxing. And she began to recognize that by working within a particular time frame, having a cut-off time, she was still producing work, which was still of a very high standard, but it just meant that she didn't spend excessive time ruminating over it, trying to get perfection. Good was good enough. So tip number 1, raise your tolerance levels. Tip number 2, don't compare yourself to your extroverted colleagues. Now, often I find that when women are striving for perfection, it's because they're trying to match a standard of someone else, often being their extroverted colleagues. And so it's about recognizing that your extroverted colleagues have got skills and strengths which are different to yours. As an introverted leader, you have skills and strengths, and your introversion is a strength. It isn't a weakness. So when you're comparing yourself to your extroverted colleagues, it's like comparing apples and pears. They're both tasty fruits, but they're both different. And as an introverted leader, you have a different set of skills and strengths, and so don't be comparing yourself to something that you're not. So tip number 2, don't compare yourself to your extroverted colleagues. Tip number 3, accept yourself as you are. And one of the issues, another issue that I find with senior introverted women is accepting themselves as they are as an introvert. Society and the corporate environment is very much geared towards extroversion. And growing up, I found that many introverted women were told as a child or made to feel as a child that there was something wrong with being an introvert. And so as a result, they've grown up not accepting themselves as they are. So tip number 3, learn to accept yourself as you are. Ask yourself, would you really be doing the role that you're doing if you weren't good enough? Somebody saw that you were good enough for the role. They thought you were the best person for the role. What will it take for you to believe that you are good enough for that role? So tip number 3, accept yourself as you are. And if you're having problems accepting yourself as you are, then drop me a line at carol@aboundingsolutions.com and let's have a chat. So those are my 3 tips to not let perfectionism ruin your leadership career. Tip number 1, raise your tolerance levels. Tip number 2, don't compare yourself to your extroverted colleagues. And tip number 3, accept yourself as you are. If you want to find out more about me and my work, visit www.aboundingsolutions.com or read the information that accompanies this video and find out how you can join my high achieving women community. Thank you and bye.